So this time on our mannequin head, it's going to be the green ones, and then if you look at them, they're all the same length, okay? So yesterday, they were shorter in the exterior and longer in the interior, right? This time, it's the same all over. So depending on the length of the hair will decide what the actual hair cut looks like, okay? And so that's important to know. And then you say to yourself, well, how do you get every hair to be exactly the same, right? So you're definitely going to use your traveling guide, right? So you're going to take some previously cut hair with some hair to be cut right next door, and you're going to bring those together. And you're going to do your best to cut it straight out from where the hair grows, okay? And that's how you're going to keep from getting too long on the sides and anywhere else, okay? So we're going to use a traveling guide today. So any questions about this one so far? Okay, so I brought out this one section. So it's important that you make sure that you bring down a good amount of hair. So I would say, a good inch, because if you make it too thin, sometimes when people have long hair, their hair gets kind of broken up at the neck and different things. And so they're going to be shorter way here at the very bottom. If you use it as your gauge to cut the hair, by the time you get to the top, it's going to be really, really short. So you always want to make sure that you have a good amount of hair. And also don't forget this hair that you first bring down is your initial guide. If you don't have a strong enough guide, you're going to get lost throughout the haircut, okay? So I want to talk about that. But in doing that, now that I'm thinking about my haircut, this is a uniform haircut, but I wanted to address this issue from yesterday, okay? Because I felt like you guys weren't, it's kind of a disservice to yourself if you don't make this section thick enough so that you have a really strong guide to follow, okay? So today what we're doing is a uniform haircut. And so this is going to require vertical sections, okay? So vertical sections to start this haircut, okay? So how are you going to do that, right? So we're going to start in the center. So we're going to start in the center, and we're going to take our first vertical section, so a 1/2 inch, right at center. And so in doing that, it's going to be your traveling guide throughout this whole back section, okay? So I'm going to take this first one, maybe a little bit less than a 1/2 inch, and try to take it all the way down. Move that hair out the way. So with this haircut, sometimes it's nice to move hair out the way as you work, okay? So you have a little bit more control, okay? So this is going to be your first guide, okay? So you're going to take at least 1 inch and start at the top. You're going to start at the top, and you start at the top so you don't get too short as you go up. So you're going to raise this hair up, and you're going to take it straight up from where the hair grows. So because the head is round, you can only go so far, okay? So straight up from where the hair grows, okay? It's going to be there. So straight up, and then you're going to cut, okay? Then you're going to drop that down, take half of that hair away, move that out the way, take half of it to your next section, and pull that straight out from where it grows, Okay, and you're going to do that all the way down. Okay.
So, Miss Knowles, you're slicing the hair like orange, you know, that's how you're doing it, like triangular?
Not the first one. This first subsection is a rectangle. It's a square. Then when we get to the next one, that one's going to be the triangle.
From top to the bottom, you just did like a triangular, like it's thicker on the bottom and thin on the top. That's how it is? Like how is the whole section?
I tried to make it the same width all the way down.
Okay, I thought it's thicker on the bottom and less on the.
I didn't mean to. That wasn't the purpose. No.
You see, that's what I was thinking. Okay.
Okay. Okay, so this one's a rectangle all the way down, and then you're going to start your pies on the side. Okay. So pull this hair straight up, and then take at least an inch. And then drop down half of it. And always look at your hair and see if it's straight out from where it grows before you actually cut. Take half again. And I'm just taking away half just to make it easier to control. You don't have to take away half. A lot of times I like to leave the hair in my hand, but sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to do that. So for students to see, it's like, well, I don't understand why you have all that hair in your hand. So I'm trying to do better about distributing the hair. Okay, so down here, it's a little bit tricky, but you just have to aim it the same way as the hair, okay, and as the hair grows, okay. So everywhere you go, you have to make sure that you go back and you adjust. Okay. And this is actually, to me, this is one of the more difficult haircuts to do, because you have to take this exact length and try to get it everywhere all the way around the head. So kind of take some thought, and you have to kind of figure out, okay, now how am I going to do that? So each time you move, say an inch in any direction, your angle is going to have to change. So you want to make sure that you start thinking about that in advance. Like, okay, now how am I going to do that? Okay. So like, for example, like we said, down here in this area, this hair is starting to round down, right? So that means that your finger angle needs to be similar to that. And see, if you're not, you get that tiny little bit. Okay, so you have to be really, really precise. Okay, I'm just showing you as I go up my guide. If you have a tiny little bit, if you're a tiny little bit off, it's okay. But if you get a lot off, then it's going to throw you off as you move forward. So you don't want to. If you see that you really having an issue, you might want to stop, go back, and check it before you move on to your next section. Okay. Any questions about that so far? That's your first guide, your first section to create your guide. And now you're going to do your pie shapings. Okay, so you're going to do a pie shaping. So you're going to be more narrow in the top, and you're going to get a little bit wider. And it's all because the head is round. Because the head is round, you can't do rectangular sections all over. Okay. get this hair out the way again. So you have control. Okay. And then bring these two sections together. So because it's a traveling guide, you're going to move the hair that you previously cut over to where the hair is that you're going to be cutting. Okay, I check for my guide. That's my guide. And then I'm going to check my angle and cut. Okay, bring that hair over. Look for your guide. Find your angle. See your guide.
Miss Knowles,
Yep.
at any point in time, did people just like want this haircut?
Well, this is kind of the a layered haircut. Somebody want to be really light and have a lot of movement. You could, for example, you talked about the shag yesterday. Well, the shag would be this on the top in the face area, or a mullet would be this in the face area, and then as you go toward the back, you go into the increased layer, so you have that longish in the back. Does that make sense? So this haircut, remember, depending on the length, will decide what it actually, the end result looks like. If the hair is really long, this haircut will just kind of give you just sweeping, layers all throughout, kind of nice movement. If the hair is shorter, or if the hair is curlier, it's going to give you more of a round kind of a fuller effect. Okay, so it just kind of depends on what you're going for and the type of hair that you're putting it on. But the nice thing about learning these haircuts is that you can add them together and incorporate them into different haircuts, okay, in different ways. Okay. So another pie shaping. If you never learn the basics, you'll never be able to move forward into more dramatic and what you might see as interesting haircuts if you never learn the basics. Looking for my guide, taking my hair and I'm traveling. You see I'm moving it, my guide to where I'm going to be cutting so that I don't get an over direction. When in doubt, always go back up, check for your guide. Can you see that there's more movement? Remember, I had a little weight down here, I had my wedge down here. Well, that's pretty much all gone. And now you just have is what we call a movement, okay? Okay, that makes sense? So you should have no heavy weight lines anywhere throughout this haircut, okay? Okay, so make sure that you have a guide from the top. You should have a guide on the side. And see how I'm directing this hair over. So I can use my traveling guide. And not get long behind the ear. Just gonna go this way, just to make sure I'm not over directing that hair. Then I move it around so I can see if I have any corners. And I'll do this last piece on this side. Okay. So don't forget to direct this hair all the way over. Find your guide. There's my guide. At the top I have a guide and I have a guide on the side. Okay, there's my guide and my guide on the side. Okay, then I move it around, see if I have any corners. Okay, so now what? Now I'm gonna do it on the other side. So now I'm going to take this previously cut hair from this side and move it over to this side, okay? So my first subsection on this side is going to be a rectangle, approximately 1/2 inch.
Miss Knowles,
Yes.
I think this cut is one of the easiest cuts to me.
Oh, not to me.
You don't think so?
No, too many variables. One false move, if you over direct one way or the other, it's too long, and then you just get longer and longer and longer as you go. To me,
if you just hold it straight up, everything straight from the scalp, it's even.
But that's to me, that's easier said than done.
Well, this was my favorite haircut in beauty school because I could do it. Yeah, it was just the easiest because everything was just straight out from the scalp.
It frustrated me because I felt like I couldn't quite get it straight out every time. Because straight out here is one thing, but straight out here is something else.
Yeah, and you just move your hand
every inch or so, and that kind of took me a long time to kind of get that concept, you know.
Yeah, but I just think this was one of my easiest cuts. This and just a solid cut.
Yeah. Okay, so now I'm cutting this to my guide from the other side. Make sure you bring it over, because remember, it's a traveling guide. And you don't have to take a lot of hair over, but you got to take enough to have a nice strong guide. to be able to see it. So find your guide. There it is. Bring it to the hair to be cut. Watch your angle down here. Okay. Looking for corners. And wait. And take our next section. Don't forget it's a pie. Let it down a little bit. Previously cut hair. Some hair to be cut. You bring it over to where you be cutting. Make sure you have a nice strong guide. Come on. There you are. See how many times per time you just have to keep going back until you can see a nice strong guide? You just do it. Because if you don't, you take it and cut it, and it's like, well, what happened? I got 2 more sections in the back. Looking for my guide. I'm kind of short. for my last section on this side. I got shorter on one side than the other. Okay. Okay. So you're going to bring what you did in the back into the front. Just checking the sides, making sure I'm good to go. So like the other side got a little bit shorter than this side, so I'm checking this one in. So I use the top portion to see where I am at the top, and then make that hair have to travel to where I want it to be cut. Okay. So you take your front down. And this is going to be rectangle, not rectangle, yeah, rectangle subpartings. So you only have to do the triangles in the back. So bring this hair forward. Make sure you can find your guide and cut. Guide. Okay. Now last side. I always like to take a piece from the other side, along with the guide from the back for balance. Okay. So when you get done with this one, you shake it. Shouldn't be too many corners or heavy weight. Should be similar to the head shape. So you go from side to side. Okay. Upside down. Okay. That makes sense. Okay, so that's the haircut for today. Okay, any questions about uniform 90-degree haircuts?
So at the beginning, you like made the guide at the nape, right?
No,
Oh, okay.
I was discussing that I wanted you all to make a thicker guide at the bottom for most haircuts that start down there. I wanted to make sure I talked about that from yesterday, so I sectioned that off purposely to remember to say to you all, when you're doing that type of haircut that you're doing graduation yesterday, or when you're doing a solid the day before, not yesterday, but the day before that, that you make sure you have a thick enough guide in the nape area. And then I took that out, and then I started doing it
Okay, yeah.
vertical.
Okay, yeah, I was just a little confused. Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
that was comments I wanted to make sure that I addressed from the last graduation that we had, that I didn't think I put enough emphasis on the last time. So I wanted to make sure that I really discussed it and talked about it today.
Okay.
Okay. So no, this haircut is all vertical all the way around. You're going to take vertical rectangle section in the middle, and then you're going to pie on the sides in the back, and then on the sides of the face, you're going to go rectangle again.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, so let's see what time it is. Okay, so let's come back at what would that be, 9:40? Okay, let's come back at 9.